Hey everybody, welcome to Deep Dive of 5. This is volume 12. Volume 12. My name's Shard. I'm sitting here in the beautiful Blue Mountains, just outside of Sydney, Australia. It's autumn, the temperature is dropping, it's still stunning in terms of weather. It's a great time of year. Autumn, spring, best times of year in Australia. Alright, I've got 5 CDs today. I'm going to go through these. Have a little bit of a nostalgic trip down memory lane with them. A little bit of my history with them. A little bit of history of the albums. So yeah, let's get into it. This is just like a handful of CDs I've grabbed. I've got like a couple of big boxes of CDs that I've collected over the years. Not a lot of new releases. I kind of stopped buying CDs around 2016, 2017, at least with any great, what's the word? Like, I didn't buy a lot. I buy them occasionally now, but it's a different world. It's a different world compared to like when I was buying a lot of CDs. Alright, so if you got any kind of awesome nostalgic recollections of CD shopping, let me know, man. I'm going to share a few today. Alright, so top of the stack today, the Jimi Hendrix Experience, Electric Ladyland. This is their last studio album, Jimi's last studio album. This came out in what, 69 or something? Let's see if I can read this. Oh god, 68. This is a very, like, when this first came out, a lot of critics didn't really know how to, like, categorize it, how to handle it. It's not messy. It's a classic album. It's amazing. If you like Jimi Hendrix, this is like peak Jimi. It's a bit all over the place. There's some awesome like jam tracks on it, like the OG Voodoo Child is just like, I think it's like 14 minutes long. It's like, mwah. Oh, so good. But it's got classics on here like too, like Crosstown Traffic, Long Hot Summer Night, Gypsy Eyes, Burning of the Midnight Lamp. All Along the Watchtower, of course, is Bob Dylan cover that Dylan said was a better version than his, which is fair enough. It's a great version. This is a fantastic album. The last released before he died in 1970, I think it was. He did do Band of Gypsies, but that was a live album. This is one of the ultimate studio albums. I say studio because Jimi Hendrix was a notorious perfectionist in the studio, and the studio then was a lot more of a monster that needed beating and taming and fiddling with and experimenting with a lot. And Jimi really did that in the studio this time. This is like one of the ultimate studio albums. Like, it was just kind of made in the studio, and it really shows. It's I don't know, man. It's just, yeah, a very cool album. And Jimi Hendrix, the world would be a different place if Jimi had survived, I believe. And, or not survived, but kept on living, kept on recording. Or he could be at Vegas now, I don't know. Number 2, Porno for Pyros, Good God's Urge. This is the second and last album from the old P4P. No one calls them that, they're called Porno for Pyros. Their first album came out in 93, I think it was, the self-titled one. I got into that album a lot. I didn't really get into Jane's Addiction for a long time. I was a big Porno for Pyros fan, though. And I don't know why it took me so long to get into Jane's Addiction. I don't know why. Not so long, it wasn't decades. It was literally like, 3 or 4 years after the first Porno for Pyros album. I really got into Jane's Addiction. I was just like, wow, really cool band. And man, drugs really did a number on those guys, man. Even this one, this came out in 97, I think it was. and it bled into their Relapse tour. So like there was a lot of drugs done on this album, and it fed into the Relapse tour, which of course kind of coincided with the Kettle Whistle Jane's Addiction compilation. This is a short album. It's really good. Apparently it was inspired by a 2-year surfing trip that Perry and his mates were taking, Perry Farrell. Rock's nice guy. Yeah, so it was apparently inspired by that. It's got Perry Farrell, Peter DeStefano, Stephen Perkins, Mike Watts, Thomas Johnson, and I like this album. It's quite different from their first album. It's a lot less alt rock, a bit more hippy dippy, which kind of also feeds into the Perry Farrell album that came out not long after this, The Song Yet to Be Sung, which is a pretty cool album too. I got this. So when I was growing up in New Zealand, there was one record store in town, Ivo's Music City. We've got a big Dalmatian population where I'm from, so people from the former Yugoslavia. And he was a Dalmatian guy, Kiwi. He was Australian, but his name was Ivo. Ivo's Music City. He sold guitars. He sold, that kind of thing. He sold musical instruments. He sold T-shirts, and he sold CDs, tapes, and records less so. It was the 90s, so records kind of fell out of favor for a while. So there were a lot of cassettes, a lot of CDs. I used to hang out there every day after school. And that store closed down. Mainly because a big box retailer moved in and kind of bled him dry. And he was looking to get out anyway. Retail's a hell of a business. So the local surf shop took on his stock, and they put it in their shop. And I used to go and hang out there, but it wasn't the same. It wasn't the same. Those days were over. And I think this was the last album I might have got from that shop. Good God's Urge. It was there for a while. I was kind of in my metal years, so I was kind of umming and ahhing about Porno for Pyros, But I did get it, and it's a good album. It stuck with me. I still put it on every once in a while. It's got some great tracks. It's a very, very chill album. Very, very. It's got some rockin' tracks on here too, like Freeway. That's a great song. I think that's one of their best songs. It's got Flea on it and Dave Navarro. What's on? Kimberly Austin. Oh, that's good. Tahitian Moon. Tahitian Moon for some reason got big in New Zealand. I don't know why. And it was on a couple of big compilations over there, like the top 100 drinking songs or something. I'm just like, Tahitian Moon? I didn't remember hearing that when it came out. 100 Ways is a delightful, lovely song. And Barley Eyes, I think the closing track is my favorite track on this album. Very cool. Very cool. Alright, from a blast from the past in more ways than one. This is Trey Anastasio's debut. Well, not debut, his self-titled album from 2002, I believe it was. Hold on, it's in my CD player. I was listening to it the other day because I haven't listened to it in so long. So long. If you don't know the name Trey Anastasio, he is the band leader for an up-and-coming indie band called Fish. Fish, Phish, and he's released a bunch of solo stuff and other projects and stuff like that. He was with an Oysterhead with Les Claypool and Stuart Copeland from The Police. Les Claypool from Primus, of course, which is a great album. You don't think you're like, how would this work? And it does. But this is his not his debut, his self-titled album from 2002. It's a very free-form jazz jam album. So if you're into that kind of thing, very cool, very good album. It's got Night Speaks to a Woman, which is like one of my favorite tracks of his. Money, Love and Change. There's a couple of really long jam tracks on this, which is awesome. I got this from Martin's Records for $15. Martin's Records was one of those awesome grungy secondhand record stores that was in Sydney. It was on the corner of Pitt and Gould Street, right in the city. There was this kind of a block of Pitt Street, and a few other places around, where you could go in on a Saturday morning and do the rounds of all the record stores. And I loved it. I loved doing that. There was so many. There was like Lawson's, Red Eye Records secondhand shop, Martin's, Ashwood's, and you used to be able to, you could go in and spend the day just going from record store to record store, secondhand record store to secondhand record store. And Martin's was a great little one. It was quite a small shop, not tiny, but just great grungy early 2000s, late 90s energy. And it's long gone now, sad to say, but hey, that's the way of the world. But that's where I got this from. If you got any memories of Martin's Records in Sydney, hit me up in the comments, man. Yeah. Alright, final two. Temple of the Dog, self-titled. Temple of the Dog. If you're my age, if you're Gen Xer, early millennial, you will know who Temple of the Dog are. They were. They were a super group. Kind of. So Mother Love Bone, this is back in the 90s, early 90s. Mother Love Bone disbanded after the death of vocalist Andrew Wood, just on the precipice of worldwide fame and adulation. And Mother Love Bone dissipated. The grunge scene was yet to explode, but it was a very fertile creative ground in the Pacific Northwest up in Seattle. Chris Cornell was in the band Soundgarden. They'd released a couple of albums. The guys from Mother Love Bone, like Jeff Ament, Stone Gossard, Mike McCready, and Matt Cameron, also from Soundgarden. Who did drums on this? Yeah, Matt Cameron. Mike McCready, Stone Gossard, Jeff Ament. Yeah. They were kind of like, what are we doing? And Chris Cornell was like, well, I'm really sad my old roommate Andrew Wood died. Let's do a tribute album to him. And this was in 1990. So they went into the studio, they recorded this 10-track, just bomb, just massive, great, amazing album. They released it in 1991. Grunge explodes not long after the release of this album. Pearl Jam, massive. Nirvana, huge. Soundgarden, boom. And this kind of went under the radar for a while. And I remember the first time I heard this. I remember the first time, clearly, I heard Hunger Strike by Temple of the Dog. I didn't know who they were. I was waiting in the crowd at the Guns N' Roses, I think it was March 1993 gig. I was like 15, there with my dad. We went down to see the Guns N' Roses Use Your Illusion show. And Hunger Strike was playing, or the album, I assume, was playing on the PA while we were waiting, like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Everyone's sitting down, just kind of chilling out in the sun. And I was like, what is this song? Hunger Strike? I didn't even know what it was. Like, I didn't know who was singing. Like, I could kind of maybe tell it was Eddie Vedder and Chris Cornell, but I wasn't clicking, and I was just like, this is a great song. And it wasn't until like probably 6, 7, 8, 9 months later that I heard it again. And I was like, oh, that's Temple of the Dog. That's that song I heard, Hunger Strike. And Temple of the Dog, bam. And this is my second copy of the album. The first one was stolen in the great CD heist in 2001. When I was at university, and like a massive chunk of my CD collection was stolen back in the day when you could get money for CDs, and I had my own little edition of it. I had a double CD. I had the album, and I also had the single of Hunger Strike packaged in the back, and yeah, they got stolen. I was bummed about that. I can't remember where I got this copy from. But one of the great grunge albums, easily. If you like Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, you would have heard this. It's got Say Hello to Heaven, Hunger Strike, Call Me a Dog, Your Savior, which I love that song. Just the last kind of chunk of it where the vocals are just, oh my God, it still gives me goosebumps. All right. And All Night Thing, which I think is one of Chris Cornell's greatest vocal efforts. All right, last up. This is a big album for me. Big. It's the biggest album. It's one of the big ones. This is the Afghan Whigs, Gentlemen. Came out in 1994, I think. 1993. I read a review for this in Hot Metal magazine, which was the big alternate music, metal, rock magazine in Australasia. So Australia, New Zealand. You read Hot Metal if you're into metal music. I read a review for this. It got 5 out of 5 skulls. And I was like, oh, I want to listen to that. So we lived in a town, small town, 2 hours from the nearest city, 4 hours from nearest kind of culture. I don't know, cool stuff. Cool stuff. I won't say culture. New Zealand is awash with culture. But 4 hours from the really good record stores. And my brother had braces, and he used to have to go to the closest city, Whangarei, every month or two to get his braces adjusted. And I would give her a little list of CDs for her to look out in the Whangarei record store. Which I can't remember what it was called. There was a couple there. There was Sounds, which was a chain for a little while. There was a Whangarei record store right in the middle. I can't remember what it was called. Long gone now, long gone. I love that place too. So I'd give her, if I wasn't going to go down, because I had to take the day off school, I'd give her a little list. And she came back one day when I was about 15 with the Afghan Whigs, Gentlemen. And I was listening to a lot of heavy music at the time, grunge, that kind of stuff. I put this album on. I still remember the first time I heard it. It kind of opens up with like bees buzzing, like ambient kind of, background noise, and then it goes into If I Were Going. And this wasn't, I hadn't heard anything like this before in terms of lyrical content, just the type of music they were playing. It was very soul infused, Midwest rock grunge. I don't even, grunge lightly. And it made a huge impact on me. Sometimes I think to my detriment. It's one of those things. Remember in High Fidelity when the character says, "What came first, the music or the misery?" And I can equate that saying to this album. This is a very heavy album in terms of lyrics, and I think I was probably a bit too young to really notice the impact they were having on me. It was almost damaging, almost like emotional abuse. This album on an impressionable 15-year-old, on a chubby, lonely, isolated 15-year-old in rural New Zealand, and it had a massive effect on me, man. I love this album. I love it to this day. I still remember riding to school on the bus with it, like just smashing my eardrums from my Walkman, from the dub I made. And then later when I got a CD player, when I could afford one, and just walking around thinking I was the only guy who knew anything because I listened to the Afghan Whigs and I knew all about relationships and heartbreak. I knew nothing. But Greg Dooley, Jesus Christ, dude, what did you do with this album? If you came across this album at that kind of age and you think did you damage, let me know. We can kind of maybe like go see a therapist. I don't know. It's dark. It's heavy. It blew my fragile eggshell mind back in the 90s when I first heard it, and it still the impression it left on me still like echoes through my personality to this day. Good or bad, musical misery, what came first? I don't know. Fantastic album from a fantastic band. They're celebrating their 40th year this year. I think they're doing a massive tour of the States. They haven't been down here since 2013. I think I went and saw them, and I was just like, oh my God, finally. But they haven't been back since. I think it might be a small audience, and it takes ages to get it. Well, it doesn't take. It's expensive to get to Australia, even more so now. But a fantastic album. This is like, I think, my second or third copy of this. First one was taken in the Great CD Heist in 2001, and I think this is my backup copy that I found in a deleted bin. If you're from the 90s, you know what deleted albums that whole thing was. Maybe I'll talk about it a little bit later on. But yeah, easily in my top 10, if not for not for the music, but just for the impact it had on me. Even though musically it's great, it's just, it shreds you. It shreds every part of you. Shreds your eardrums, shreds your brain, shreds your freaking heart and soul too. Big album, big album. One of the best albums of the 90s, easily. That's it from me from Deep Diver 5, Volume 12, I think. Just really check that and just like make sure. Instead of like I jump on here quite not impulsively. I'll sit with these CDs for a couple of days and just kind of do a bit of research, listen to them and that kind of stuff. But then I sit down and I'm just like, I gotta get it done. And then I'm like, what volume is it? Which part? Okay. Hit me up in the comments, like and subscribe if you like. I don't mind. It's all good now. I'm just kind of doing this because it makes me feel good to do it. So, as long as it feels good, do it. That's what I say. Or if you're not hurting anyone, of course, as well. All right. Bye.